Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the Super 7 Ultimates Silverhawks. And there are 3 waves. They just announced this 3rd wave here. We're going to talk about everything they've announced so far, and especially this 3rd wave. Although it's becoming a trend that they are revealing even yet another wave without the first figure being released, I do look forward to every one of these, and I'm going to tell you what I think. We're going to compare it to the G1 toys, or the original toys, and the cartoon. All this coming up. So we're going to go ahead and start with Wave 1. Wave 1 is going to have Buzzsaw, Monstar, Quicksilver, and Steelheart. So let's get into these. Starting with Buzzsaw, he is a little bit different looking kind of character, but he does come with a bunch of accessories, 2 extra heads. Of course, he's got his bird in there. He's got some sort of a gun, whole lot of accessories. I guess you could pull the Buzzsaws off and put some hands on, so it's pretty cool. So let's compare this guy to the cartoon and to the original Kinder toy. So on the left is a cartoon screen grab, and on the right is the Kinder toy. So it looks like it's more or less a blend of the 2 different styles there, but it is going with the original color of the cartoon. Now I wonder if down the road they'll put out a toy-inspired colored one, because in my mind I think it's green, but in the cartoon, of course, he looks goldish colored. So, of course, they match the cartoon as close as possible, and that's what Super 7 does, and that's what they're known for. This is still a really cool modern update to a classic character. So, getting into the packaging, we're going to look at Monstar, and all of the bad guy packaging looks pretty similar. You kind of have this red on the outside, and then on the inside, you have more red and kind of like a night sky going on right there. And with that, this is how everything is kind of crammed in that box. You can see all of this stuff. And there's just a ton of accessories, which is part of that $55 price point. Here's everything that's in there with 4 extra sets of hands. You got blast effects. You got this, looks like a laser rifle. You've got some stars in there. The bird, extra head, looks like a damaged head. So we've got the cartoon on the left, the toy on the right, the vintage Kinder toy. And so looking at this, it really looks pretty close to both of them. I think they did kind of take a bit of the cartoon to make it cartoon accurate, but still keep some of the toy in mind. Some of the design of the toy and the design elements are similar right there. So looking at these side by side, it does look pretty good. It does match the animation relatively well. Now, we can argue, like, is it a different hue of red and all that? This is still just a render. When we see it in person, I'm pretty sure it's not going to match this exactly. It's going to look a little bit closer to the cartoon, in my opinion. Now, there's another out there making Silverhawks, officially licensed Silverhawks. So it's a little more expensive, but Ramen Toy, I think there's a bit of a better paint job going on with it, and it's a little bit more stylized, a lot more slender, sleek, and more of a heroic look to it, although this guy's nothing anywhere near a hero, but still it looks pretty cool, and I really like it. I'm in on both of these, and of course I'm going to do comparisons and all that kind of stuff, but they're going for a little bit different stuff, more real world for Ramen Toy, more stylized, more shiny, than more of the flat paint cartoon target that we're getting right here with Super 7. Alright, so next up we got Quicksilver here, and looking at him, he does look pretty cool. He does have Tallyhawk in 2 different forms. So I guess you get 2 different Tallyhawks. You get him where he could be perched or flying. You get a swappable head, so you have the visor down. You do have these arms here. So to wing it, to put the wings out, you have to swap arms, I guess. Pop them out of the shoulder sockets, and then put new hands on there, or swap hands, or whatever. You also do get some blast effects, some kind of cool stuff right there. But looking at this side by side, on the right you got the toy, and on the left you have the screenshot. Now the screenshot doesn't look quite like this. The color's a bit off. I would have preferred this to be silver, not blue. So I'm not sure why they're going with that. And they are testing paint to make it shinier, a little bit more shiny than that. But it still doesn't really match the original toy, and doesn't really match the cartoon as much. Closer to the cartoon, but again, Quicksilver should be silver. It still looks cool. It's a great design. I kind of like it. Kind of hope the final end result is a little more silver. Here's what it looks like in the packaging, and it's kind of decent packaging. They do it. This one's going to be blue versus red, and on the very exterior you have a slipcover that is silver to go over Silverhawk, just like they're doing with the Thundercats in a way. Looks kind of cool. Alright, so here is Ramen Toy on the left, and we have Super 7 on the right. So you can see they're going for 2 different aesthetics. I am in on Ramen. Everything Ramen makes, I'm excited about what they're doing, what's going on over there. But Super 7, of course, is going to make an entire line. I think Super 7 will eventually go deeper, but we'll see what Ramen Toy does. I do like the aesthetic of the Ramen Toy, but I kind of like the aesthetic of both. But the thing about it is Quicksilver's silver in my mind. Quicksilver's also shiny in my mind. So that's where Ramen sort of win in this battle. But what do you guys think? So looking at Steel Heart, pretty much everything the same that we got with Quicksilver, except we get one additional head, so you got an extra expression there. And I feel sort of the same way about the color of this. I wish it would be more like the toy. And if you look in this animation still, the toy and the animation look a bit closer than the colors that they choose. So I'm not really sure where they came about choosing those colors. I would like to match toy. I think maybe that's my opinion. So with this, though, they are trying to match the cartoon as close as possible. And of course, there are variations depending on what episode, how deep into the episode, what part of the episode, what color it looks like. So they do take some liberties here and there. And this is what they settled on. I kind of hope it's a little bit darker, though. But Steel Heart does look pretty good. I got it on pre-order. Alright, so next up we have Bluegrass, and of course Bluegrass looks pretty cool. He does look pretty good overall in what they're doing with him. And again, they are experimenting with shinier paint, so it may come out a lot shinier than this. But he does have his guitar with him that he always has, and we're going to see all the different accessories here in just a second. So it's cool they included two different versions of the guitar. One of them looks like the supersonic version, or the ultrasonic version, whatever they call that. And that is kind of cool that they included both of those. Ton of accessories, just a ton of accessories. Lasso, two different versions of the guitar turns into a bird, and then of course his hat, one hat, but three heads, tons of hands, and what appears to be some blast effects that turn into music, and one that's just a blast effect. So really cool accessories overall. So with this color, I think this one is pretty close to the cartoon Bluegrass overall. And that's the goal. That is always Super 7's goal, is to match the cartoon aesthetic 100%. Now on the right you see the toy, and it doesn't really match the color or the sheen of the toy, but it does kind of give you a bit of the feel of the toy. And the fact you include both of the guitars, which is really awesome. So one guitar is for Sideman, the guitar and strap, and the other one is Hot Lick's guitar and strap. So next up, let's take a look at Steel Wheel, and he does look pretty good. So he comes with a slew of stuff too. So he has 3 head sculpts, 5 pairs of hands, a pair of winged arms, a pair of alternate shoulders, 4 laser effects, 2 stronghold figures, streamer blast and effects, screamer blaster, and 2 screamer blast effects. Now he does look a little bit more like his animation than I would say Steel Heart did. So it's a little bit closer. So maybe they keep making running changes to the colors and all that. Or maybe they're just all going to be slightly different colors. But who really knows. But still, looks pretty cool. Looks pretty good overall. Also notice how beefy he is. He's a kind of a big, beefy dude. And yeah, that's a maybe a different buck than even Quicksilver. So next up we have Monstar. And he does look a lot like the on-screen counterpart. So with this Monstar, it is the pre-transformation before he calls on the Moon of Limbo to be the might and the power and all that kind of stuff. So with this, though, he does come with quite a few stuff and quite a few stuffs. With this, 3 head sculpts, 5 pairs of hands, alternative right hand, and then 2 Sky Shadow figures, which is pretty cool. And if you're in on this, so this is kind of for those people that would want one that we never got made before in any iteration that I know of, the pre-transformation. All right, so next up we're getting into Windhammer, and you got the cartoon on the left, toy on the right. This is very, very close to the cartoon. Really, really looks good. You get 2 different heads, and you get all these electronic pieces looking here. 5 pairs of hands, tuning fork, ice blade effect, lightning effect, energy effect, and yeah, it does look pretty good. It does look pretty good. It really does respect the toy at the same time. The toy is more, it almost feels like a statue. It's so solid. It's just a big, giant hunk of a figure. And the tuning fork now looks accurate versus the purple weird looking one that came with the vintage. But still, looking really good overall. There's also a throne in Wave 2. So I think that's like another $50 or something like that. So with this, it is cool that they're making some of these effects. Some of these items that are there present in the animation in the background, so you can do some world building. That is cool that they offer it, but it's not cheap. Now for Wave 3 with the newest announcements that we have going on here with Molecular, Mumbo Jumbo, Hot Wing, and Stargazer. Okay, so we got Stargazer here with 3 heads. He's got 2 guns. He's got his bird and, of course, multiple hands. Actually, he comes with a lot less than most of these, so one of the least on there, and he's probably one of the least exciting out of all of them. But he was in every episode pretty much, or most episodes, and he played a big role. But also for me, it was the first figure I ever got for Silverhawks, and so it was like I got him, and a decade later I started collecting Silverhawks, so it's kind of cool. But it does look a lot like the animation, and let's just be frank, the figure itself, the original figure from Kenner, looked a lot like the animation, so they all look similar. And it looks good for what you get. So next up on the list is Mumbo Jumbo, and he does look pretty good overall. He comes with 2 interchangeable heads, neutral or snarling, 8 interchangeable hands, 2 fists, 2 trigger hands, 2 gripping hands, and 2 open hands. Also 2 airshock weapon bird figures, flight pose and weapon mode, and then handcuffs, small blaster, super magnetizer belt. So kind of some cool stuff that comes with him, and it is interesting how they're tackling the side companion piece, I guess you could say. So with that, comparing him to the toy on the right and the animation on the left, he does look more like the animation. And I have to say, I have to give it to Kenner, that the original toy did look a lot like the animation in the first place. So with this, it does look like a lot of them, like all of the options here. And I think it looks great. I think it's pretty good. I don't see anything about like the neck elongating or anything like that, like the Kenner one did. So anyway, it's still kind of cool. It's kind of fun. And it's another really solid release from Super 7. So next on the list is Molecular. Molecular does actually look a lot like the on-screen counterpart. But before we get into that, what all does he come with? 3 interchangeable heads, neutral, smiling, and angry. 8 interchangeable hands, fist, palm up, relaxed, palm, hand, open hand, gripping hand, transformation hand, translucent transformation hand, molecular hand, and then vulture weapon, volt your weapon, bird figure blaster, transformation ring, and translucent transformation ring. So whew, that's a lot of stuff going on there. But he's got a lot of accessories. It's kind of cool. Now, I really thought, I was like, oh, well, this one's probably not going to be the greatest because it doesn't match the toy, but it really does match the animation a lot, or it's really close. So really pretty cool, really good figure, really solid release. But if you're kind of one that's used to seeing the toy, this kind of startles you just a bit, but yeah, it does match the cartoon. Okay, so getting into the last one here, Hot Wing, I think that's spot on. This figure is spot on to the animation, and if it had a better sheen, like a shinier paint job, it would be a lot closer to the toy. Now, I do think it's a beautiful toy, the original one from Kenner. What all does it come with? 3 interchangeable heads, neutral, smiling, and helmet. You also have 9 interchangeable hands, 2 fists, 2 grabbing hands, 2 flight hands, orb hand, open hand, eye of infinity hand, and gyro fighting hawk figure, and then winged arms, eye of infinity, and 4 laser effects. So with all of this, there's so much you can do, so many options, but this one here, matching the animation almost perfectly, very nice looking figure. What do you guys think about all of these releases? Are you in on these yourself? Are you out on these yourself? Do you not really care? And do you think the price point of $55 is way too much now that we see pretty much $30 Star Wars figures in the Star Wars Black Series creeping up there? 55 doesn't look so bad anymore to me, and I think these look fantastic. They look amazing. They're phenomenal. Very niche market. I'd like to know what everybody thinks in the comments below. Like and subscribe to the Hanger out.